Welcome to Toxicships podcast, where my goal is to help you tap in and reveal the better self within. So, get settled and welcome to something like group therapy. Good evening, and thank you so much for deciding to drop in and share your energy with me. I'm your host, Tiffany R. Today's topic, toxic ships and parents, part 1, because I'm sure, just like many of you, this could go on forever. Now, my first memory of my dad, I had to be maybe 5 or 6. I'm only going by how tall I can remember him being, looking up to what seemed like a giant at the time, but Daddy was only around 5'9". We were actually close to the same height before he passed away. Anyway, the first memory of meeting my dad comes in like tiny blotches of memories, which makes up one very small memory, if that makes sense. So the first thing I remember about that first meeting was sitting on the floor of a small room, one twin bed, a dresser, and a television. The sun was shining beautifully that day. You know, it felt different on the skin back then. When we stepped into the room, my dad bent down and sat me on the floor in front of a tiny black television with cartoons on it. I can't remember what was on, but I can remember my dad standing in the doorway telling me that he'll be right back. The feeling that's associated with this memory when I think about it is sadness, abandonment, fear, feeling like, I don't know, being unwanted. I can't really remember, but I do feel like he was gone for a very long time that day. The next memory of Daddy wouldn't come until I was 12. It was Christmas Day, 1995. We, meaning my mom, siblings, and stepfather, were staying in a cute little house on the north side of St. Louis, across from an elementary school. Now, from the outside looking in, we were living a picture-perfect life. Wait. I just thought about it. My mom knew what my stepfather was capable of, yet had no concern that he was living across the street with children only feet away from him. Anyway, I was so happy when my dad came back into my life, but by this time he had gotten married and had a baby girl, my sister. Now, with no time to express feelings about him abandoning me and starting an entirely new family, I quickly fell into fantasies of him taking me away from the stepfather that was still molesting me at that time. But he left me with my gifts, a bike and a Walkman, and I wouldn't get to see him or meet his new family until that summer. After meeting my stepsister and my stepmother for the first time, weekend visits became a normal thing. I was so happy for the breaks away from my stepfather, but that peace and harmony that I was only experiencing for the first time in my young life would end soon. My dear stepmother started to show her true colors, and for the next 5 years I was back and forth between two very toxic households where I was truly unwanted by someone at each location. I finally graduated and acquired my own apartment at 19. That's when I met my girl's dad. And child, that's a whole nother roller coaster, but we'll talk about that another time. It wouldn't be until my early 20s that I would come clean to my dad about the things that my stepfather had done to me. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was visiting him. He was home alone playing his video game. He loved playing that game. Anyway, the front door was open, the sun was shining, and the breeze was breezing, baby. It felt amazing that day. I stood there in front of him as he was dead focused on his game, knowing that what I was about to say would piss him off so bad that nothing else would matter at that moment. Instead, Daddy flashed me a quick look, and then just as fast as he looked at me, his eyes were back on that fucking television screen. While still playing his game, looking straight ahead, he said to me, "What? Are you serious? That sick motherfucker." And that was the very moment I actually knew that I was definitely alone in this world. No one gave a fuck about me, yo. So it doesn't surprise me that my first relationship ever was with a damn narcissist. He was controlling as well, but nothing like my psychotic ass narcissistic ex-husband. Fact is, I was raised by 2 narcissists, grew up with a family of narcissists, dated narcissists, and eventually married one. I just pray that the truths that are being shared in this safe space are helping others that are in the same situation. Well, folks, that is all of our time. I am grateful to all that tuned in this evening. I do pray that you were able to find an answer or even a glimmer of hope. Until next time, make it a great day. The choice is literally yours.